to zoom myself back in. I know that's too much.
The way it follows you, I feel like I'm watching like a found footage horror film.
Oh no, this is awful. I want Bendy back. Anyway, a solid 9 dicks out of 10. Everybody, welcome to the Unnamed Gaming Podcast. Rumours abound that I was dead, but I confirm I am not. I know you don't really recognise me anymore because apparently I don't actually come to the podcast anymore. But no, I am here. As you can see, however, Bendy's looking a bit different. Because we don't have Bendy. We have Codmage, who most of you know and love more than me anyway. So, Codmage, just say hello and introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi, I'm Codmage, or Andy, as most people know me. I am a programmer, and I play a lot of games with Nettie.
Because he's my husband and doesn't have a choice.
That's right.
Thank you for coming.
Also why he's sat here now.
So true. Temp, hello. The actual only running member of the podcast, apparently. How you doing?
I've missed a week.
Once, because he was on holiday.
I don't know. I can't remember.
How you doing?
I am good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. It's been a week. It has in fact been a week, and it's only Wednesday.
I feel that.
Yeah.
What a week, huh?
What?
I said, what a week, huh?
What a week it's been.
It's been 3 days.
It's literally been 3 days. I'm an idiot. Okay, so as you all know, we all know, but Andy might not know. He should know because you should listen to the podcast, but this is where we trick him. What have you been playing this week? Temp, you go first.
Me? Okay, jokes. So, stream-wise, continued with some Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
And I was saving this for when Benny was here, but I'm going to have to say it because I'll forget next week. But while I was playing it, I was complaining about something in the game, as per usual. And one of our listeners and someone in the chat, Mr. Howling Crazy, did quote Bendy from probably many podcasts when she said, "Thanks, Ubisoft." So
thanks, Ubisoft.
That was quite funny, and I did say to him, "I'm gonna tell her that," but
Aww,
she'll have to hear it now.
She'll have to hear it instead. Thanks, Ubisoft.
But you've officially been quoted, Bendy. So. But yes, so that's going well. I'm enjoying it.
Good.
But I've been playing for about 23 hours, and I think about 3 hours of that has actually been main story. So I'm clearing the map. That's taking a long time.
Question mark.
Yeah. To be fair though, it's not Witcher 3 levels of question mark, so I can handle it.
Nothing will ever be the Witcher 3 levels of question mark.
That actually killed my interest in the game, sadly. I just spent too long question mark chasing and didn't finish it. My eternal shame.
I was like, I'm not going to be able to do all of these question marks on stream, so I decided to spend a few hours doing it off, like doing some of the random question marks off stream that had nothing really to do with story or anything. And I just found that I was just repeatedly like blocking nests, like within about 5 meters of each other, and I was just like, no, that's I have no interest in just repeating that for like the next 50 hours. But outside of stream, played a game on Saturday night with a few friends, including Mr. Howling Crazy. We played and completed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, very nice.
That was good fun. It was very good. We're annoyed that we missed 2 collectibles.
Can't get the stuff these days.
Terrible. I'm blaming Howling. But no, it was good fun. It was chaotic with 4 of us on the screen. I can imagine. Like with all 6, because you can have 6 players.
Oh my god, that seems scary.
Yeah. So like it was at times. It was. I mean, I'm colorblind, but I mean, even still, I should have been able to tell the difference between Donatello, who I was playing, and Leonardo, who Hull was playing.
Were you doing a Bendy and just walking into the wall as everybody else was actually doing the work?
I was watching other turtles while mine was just hitting thin air in the top corner somewhere. So, but that was really good fun. I enjoyed that. It said end of season 1 when we completed it, so I'm kind of hoping that they'll bring out some more stuff for it, but we'll have to wait and see.
I imagine they will.
Yes. Finished the story on Raft.
Oh, nice.
That was good. Enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. In fact, good fun. My first real go at like a base building survival type game. So
Andy's camera's moving again.
It's grown.
Is that the one where you play as Raft, the one where you play as beavers, or am I getting confusing that with something else?
No, I don't know.
You're literally a person on a raft trying to survive.
You literally load in onto like 4, like on this little square.
Yeah.
And you've got a shark that comes and eats the raft and stuff, but you have to use a hook and collect resources to then build out your raft.
Yeah.
But because they've just released the final full version with all the story in it.
Yeah.
So
I actually want to play that.
It is good.
Just saying, when you and Hull are from, I just want to play that.
Just call me. Call me. We will play through that with you happily. Just let us know and we'll be there.
Cool.
You know that. Just message.
Useless friend.
No, I know you're busy with Destiny.
I've actually got somebody here who can corroborate that I'm not busy. So.
Well, I mean, we got a game in this week, which I'm sure you'll talk about.
I will.
But I have one more to talk about. A game that I found and downloaded off of the PlayStation Plus catalog since they've newly thing. It's a little puzzle game. You'll like this, Nell. It's called Kiwi.
Please tell me you're playing as a kiwi bird.
You play as kiwis working in a postal office.
Oh my god! Oh, I've seen this. Oh my god, this looks so cute.
It's on the PlayStation.
Okay.
And it's couch co-op.
Andy!
So I won't spoil too much.
We only have one PlayStation controller, but we might have to acquire another one.
Right, that was an oversight on our part, wasn't it? Excuse me, I'm just gonna
you need that second controller. But yeah, played through that. I think I played with Hull, and I think it took us 2 nights to get through.
Okay.
There's like 15 regular levels. Hello, cat.
Hi.
Yeah, there's 15 regular levels, but they're all every single one. Like there's 4. Is it 15? No, it's not. 12. So it's like 30 odd or something. I don't know. I can't count. But like there's 4 different kind of modes that you do, but they mix it up every time you go back into that.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt. You can tell who the child loves more in this relationship, by the way. She never ever sits in my arms when she comes and pesters me. She always just sits with her ass facing the fucking camera. Look at that!
Oh, it's love. But yeah, I definitely think that'll be something you two would enjoy.
Yeah, I totally would.
You need a lot of cooperation.
You totally would fail.
we did beat some co-op game. I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure we beat
it was Untitled Goose Game, and that's because we were cunts.
So it was. That was fun.
The C-bomb got dropped early there.
We actually beat a bunch of Overcooked as well.
Yeah, I suppose we did.
Also, saying that, actually, Overcooked 2 is on the PlayStation thing, so we've suggested possibly one Saturday night or something, if you're down.
Absolutely.
That's a good time.
But yes, that was me. They were my games for the week. I've been very...
You've been active
today.
Army.
Yeah. Well, I can't really see my legs on the camera.
Show them off. Get them out.
They're doing a jig.
Very good. Andy, you must have a whole host of games you want to talk to us about, considering you've never been on the podcast before.
Well, so this week I played 4 games I've worked out. And the one that's probably most sort of new game. Oh, hello again. New gamey is a game called Neon White, which I don't know if either of you have heard about that.
Oh yes.
Yes, I've seen the trailer for it. Yes.
Yes, and it is a speedrunning FPS / visual novel dating sim type game.
Sorry,
and
dating sim.
Dating sim. Well, not really, but like, so it's got the dating sim thing where you collect gifts and you give them to people, and this increases your reputation. Which, like, it's not actually a dating sim, but it's kind of dating sim-esque. I think maybe it's more of a visual novel thing. I don't play enough of them to know. But the key part of the game is based around sort of speed running through levels and picking up sort of power ups essentially that allow you to do sort of particular like FPS moves. It's like a dash. There's like a jump. There's like a slam, and they also have like weapons modes. So you can use the power up for a bit as a weapon, and then it runs out, or you can discard it and use it as the power up, like to do the movement tech. And it really sort of hones in on the feeling of like speed running something. So the levels are really short; they're like under a minute each, and they encourage you to like you'll do the level once, and you'll kind of get a, like fairly sort of quite slow run, and you'll get like a bronze medal for it, and you'll be like, oh, okay, I can do better than that, and then you'll go and you'll do it again, and you'll get faster, and the game will reward you for this. It will give you collectibles will appear in the level that you have to try and like find a way to access, which is kind of like a mini puzzle game almost. Because you have to use the power ups in a different way, and there's also like usually a shortcut in the level. There's a specific like non-obvious way to traverse it that the game will reveal to you after you've gotten a certain time. So you really get the feeling of getting faster that you get from like if you've done any sort of casual speed running of like we've done it a bit with like certain activities in Destiny where we run them over and over again for some other reason to unlock something, and we just try and do it as fast as we can, and it really hits that perfectly. And it doesn't outstay its welcome either. You'll unlock everything within a level after about maybe like 5 or 10 minutes of beating it, and then you'll be like, oh, okay, cool, on to the next level, and it continually sort of throws novel things at you. And then once you're done with you do like missions which are like blocks of 10 levels, and when you get to the end of the mission, then you go back to the hub world and you interact with people, and do like sort of standard visual novel things. It's kind of slightly cringy, but quite funny. It's got a very sort of specific type of humor. I can't work out if it's like parodying visual novels or if it's just being a visual novel, but it's certainly enjoyable enough. But the speedrunning bit is the really interesting, like unique facet of it. And don't think I've played another game that kind of leans into speedrunning as the main focus of the game quite so much, except for maybe like racing games with sort of time trials and things. It reminded me a bit. Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner. I don't know. I think Ghost Runner did maybe have leaderboards. Ghost Runner is very combat focused. So in Ghost Runner, a lot of there is a lot of movement tech. There's also a lot of like AI that will kill you. Whereas in Neon White, the AI, the demons, as they're called, the enemies, are basically just targets, and they pretty much just stand still. There are a few that are like vaguely threatening, but they're only threatening if you like let them have line of sight of you for a really long time. Whereas in Ghost Runner, like there are specific enemies you have to approach in certain ways. You often find yourself like running about the level trying to finish things off, and you don't necessarily get like a super like slick run. I've seen people speedrun it, and it is very impressive. The way people can just like once you've got really practice, you just mow through things, but it's much like harder to complete a level. Whereas in Neon White, it's usually mostly like it's fairly straightforward to complete it, but completing it quickly, that's where the challenge is. So it's sort of easy to learn, hard to master sort of thing, which I found to be probably more satisfying as a game. Like, and I really like Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner is really cool. Like, there's nothing cooler than running around as a cyber ninja samurai, like murdering loads of robots. That's awesome. But it like from a like gameplay perspective, I think Neon White sort of nailed that a bit better.
Is it?
So yeah,
that is the one I'm thinking of where it's like a card based one as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So you pick up the power ups and they like stack like cards, and then the like to like consume them is called discarding them. But you can also just use them as like bullets. But it's kind of more like they're really just like power ups essentially. But like you get to use them once. So a lot of the game is like sequencing them together in a particular order to get to where you need to be to do the next bit of the level. But yeah, it's a really cool game.
Yeah, no. When I watched the trailer, it looked quite funky and very different with the fact that it was card-based FPS. But
Yes, yeah, I don't think anyone's done that before, for sure. Like, it's not a two game genres that you really think would work together. But yeah.
Can you-
Gwent and COD, yeah.
Gwent and COD. Yeah. Would you like to play a round of COD?
Can you draw a dick in it?
I don't know. I don't know if if I can't remember if the bullets actually make marks on things. So I'm not sure.
Should have tested this.
Couldn't tell you. Is that a running thing that I've unfortunately missed?
That's the only way you get 10 out of 10 games.
Yeah, only 10 out of 10 if you can draw a dick in it.
Well, I will dispatch that. I will find that knowledge out. I will pass it off to Nettle, and she can tell you all next week whether or not you can draw a dick in neon white. You can be a dick in neon white. That's definitely for sure. But yes.
Like it.
So yeah. So that's neon white. What else did I play? I played Gunfire Reborn, which is a roguelike co-op FPS that I've played for a while. That's a very fun game, if a little silly, with some of the later characters are very, very overpowered.
He was playing as a pink bunny rabbit when I saw it last.
I played as a pink bunny rabbit. I played as a water hedgehog. There's also like a weird white. Is it a rabbit or is it a cat? I think it's a cat. That's a sniper. It's very like kind of over the top, but it's quite fun, and it works the way that most roguelites work, where you stack a load of abilities and you kind of try and form a build as you're going through a dungeon, and it's an FPS, which is quite rare. There's not very many FPS roguelites. But it works quite well. My only real criticism of it as a game is that like the meta progression. So when you beat the game, you get a load of resources you can use to upgrade your abilities. Okay, right, fine. You get stronger, but those upgrades are often like insane, like really good, just like straight plus damage to like weapon damage, for example, like up to like 50%, which really changes the way the difficulty of the game works, and so it makes it quite difficult to like judge how like good you're, like if you, especially if you're playing with a friend who hasn't got as many upgrades as you might be finding it really easy and doing loads of damage and they're not doing as much, and a lot of the time that'll be because you've got more progression than they do, and it doesn't, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't do anything to like bring you up to the same level or share your like upgrades or anything like that.
So is it not difficulty scaling then? Is it? Because I know Borderlands have done that, haven't they? Where like if you're a higher level and you play with someone lower level, it will scale it.
Yeah. There's nothing like that as far as I'm aware, and it's not like Risk of Rain is like, as kind of, that's also a roguelite, like multiplayer third person shooter, but that's like all the progression is within a single run. There's no meta progression, whereas it's kind of a like, generally the moment to moment gameplay of the game is really fun. It plays like kind of a lot like Borderlands, where you pick up weapons that have like a list of like ludicrous buffs to them, basically, and you're trying to find a set of weapons that works with whatever your character is trying to do, and also like you get like character upgrades and the characters have abilities. So it's kind of, it's just got a bit of Overwatch in it as well, maybe like the way Overwatch characters play, where they have like synergistic abilities that kind of mesh, like a kit essentially, like in a MOBA. But then like, so the bunny rabbit character I was playing wants you to pick up lots of weapons that shoot very fast, and her abilities are all based around like, you are firing a gun that it's going to damage enemies lots and lots of times, do lots of small amounts of damage, and it buffs the amount of damage that does, or increases your fire rate, that kind of thing. There's another character that's like a sniper, so all of their abilities around doing critical damage, like hitting headshots and shooting from far away, and there's got power-ups that like increase the drop rate of sniper rifles. And then the hedgehog that I was playing as is like more of a melee focused character, and wants to be up in people's faces, hitting them with swords, and you kind of like have to like lean into what your character's trying to do to be like successful in it. But it is very fun, and it's quite an enjoyable like hour and a half to get to the end of a run, and it's very satisfying to like beat all the bosses. So yeah, that's Gunfire Reborn.
Is that coming to Game Pass?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, it was it was an early access when I was last playing, and it hit 1.0 late last year. And there's 2 bits of DLC, so maybe it's part of a that they're bringing out. It's scheduled in the next couple of months, so maybe that's what the Game Pass this thing is, like part of a. They're trying to sell it a bit. Yeah,
good.
Cool. Yeah, definitely worth a go. Play it with a friend. That's quite good. Definitely get the upgrades that make your revive faster if you do that, because like that is, you can go from like 6 seconds for a revive to 2 seconds for a revive, which is like the difference between getting one off and not getting one at all.
So
and it's quite frustrating.
What you're trying to tell us is that Steven's really bad at the game and dies all the time.
Well, look, not really, but what's annoying is when one of you goes down and the other one goes in to revive, and you can't quite get the revive off because it's taking too long, and the boss just shoots, because you get interrupted if you get shot while you're trying to revive, and when you're the only one left, you're the one taking all the aggro. So
I generally hate that as a camp mechanic, as like, if you're reviving somebody, yes, let me be damaged to the point where I might be killed, but don't interrupt me from killing, bringing somebody up. It's so annoying. It's like, it's a mechanic that just doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't think it necessarily adds it. Like, they should, if anything, and I think there are power ups in the game that make it so that there will upgrades, meta progression upgrades that both decrease the revive time and also make it so that you can't die while you're reviving, and you can only go down to 1 HP. And then, like, obviously, once you finish the revive, then you'll probably die instantly, but at least you got the other person up.
Although then you have the same problem of them having to revive you while the same thing's happening. It feels like when they do that, they haven't quite like play tested it properly, not QA'd it, because it's probably something that it's meant to be there. That's not a bug, but they haven't play tested it properly to see whether that is actual thing of just knock down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just like, at that point you just get bored and you can't bother to play anymore. Yeah.
If there was a better way of doing it, like that felt better as a player, that would be nice, where you felt like you were kind of going down to the boss because you sucked or whatever, rather than it just being like, oh, one of us has gone down and the other's going to try and revive them. Oh, and now they're dead as well. Okay, cool, fine, game over. But other than that, it's a really fun game. It's a good time.
Very cool.
What else have I played? I've played. I'll let you talk about Destiny. I think that's reasonable. The other game I've been playing is Legends of Runeterra, which is best described as LOL Hearthstone.
That's not laugh out loud Hearthstone. That's League of Legends Hearthstone.
It's Hearthstone, but with Vi and Jinx in it, basically. It plays a bit more like Magic the Gathering than like Hearthstone's very like straightforward. Like you put cards down and then you attack with, like, you choose which card to attack another card with, and then hit end turn and you're done. Whereas with Legend of Runeterra, like, initiative passes backwards and forwards like it does in Magic. So I believe, having not actually played Magic, but that's what people have told me, that it kind of you have this back and forth, and that's how Runeterra works as well. It's very generous in its business model, I think. One of the problems with Hearthstone is that in order to unlock the cards, you have to either play for literally years, like it's to unlock one deck, or you have to sink hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds of money into card packs and hope that you get the cards you want, because otherwise you're screwed. Whereas in Runeterra, they give you a lot of cards for free, and they give you the like wild cards, so you can unlock anything you want, and you can just directly buy cards, so you can buy whatever you want for like a fairly reasonable price. But like once you've unlocked a deck you like and played with it for a bit, you'll have more cards than you know what to do with. So yeah, it's quite fun. The meta's quite good at the moment. If you're into card games, you probably know what that means. And yeah, I enjoy it. I've played it since launch though, so it's always slightly difficult to tell how the on-ramp is when you've played something for that long that's had so much content added to it. Like, how confusing is this to new players? I bet you, like, someone coming into this having never played it before would just be like, what the hell is going on? What have you just played? I don't understand. Why is my board dead?
It is hard to get into. It's even harder if you're not particularly like robust with maths, because a lot of it is like counting to see how much damage you have and how much like damage they have, how much defense you can do with them, and that you get used to it. And if you're not like particularly caring whether you win or lose, you're just playing it because it's a bit of fun, and it's fine. Of course, it is another game coming onto Game Pass next year, and it's the middle of next year, I think it is.
Yeah, so... you get the whole Foundations set for free, which is like the cards that came out with the game when it came out of beta and like got fully released, which is a fairly decent. Like you can certainly build decks with just that set. That are reasonably viable. You probably have to unlock a couple of other things, but not a lot. One of the things that Nettie was talking about, maths. One of the things that it does that certainly Hearthstone doesn't, because I don't think it would really work, is it will show you what the outcome of a combat is. So you can load your cards into the like arena to say I'm going to attack here, and then it will show you exactly what the outcome is going to be in terms of like how much health you'll have left and like what things it will kill. So that definitely makes it a bit easier if you're worried about that. If you're worried about having to like work out in your head, there are some situations where you still need to be able to do that, but it certainly makes life easier at the beginning, for sure. And if you're just being lazy like I am all the time, I just constantly mouse over the thing, and it just shows you what's going on.
That's fair. I've never really looked at Runeterra or Hearthstone or anything like that. I mean, the closest I've come really to probably playing some kind of card game, card-based combat game or whatever, is probably like Slay the Spire, but that's roguelikes. But I mean, I might give it a go once it comes out onto to Game Pass, and that might as well. It's going to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There is a PvE mode in it now, which plays a bit like Slay the Spire, where you're kind of upgrading your cards as you go. That's worth spending some time with. I think I played it a bit since they last upgraded it. Its future is unclear because they said they were doing a bunch of work to like that. This was the future of the game, essentially, was the PvE mode, because it got so much more engagement on the PvP side. But then after it came out, about a week later, they were like, actually, we've changed our minds. We're going to refocus on the PvP side of it. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's a bit weird, a bit mysterious, but yeah.
Interesting. Oh,
that's good.
Somebody who actually knows what they're talking about with games. Unlike me, where I'm just like, game good, has cute thing in it. Which is about what I'm about to do now, quite frankly. So I'm trying to remember. What?
Can draw dick.
Can draw dick, yeah. I'm trying to remember the last time I spoke about something. Now, the last time I was on the podcast, did I speak about hidden paws?
No.
Right, so we're going to start from there. So, yes, a couple of weeks back, some of you may have seen on our YouTube channel and TikTok and probably even Instagram, I did a review of a really cute little game called Hidden Paws, and that is what it is. It is a cute little game where you go around snowy little islands trying to find hidden kitty cats. Cats! It's just like a little find 'em game. It's literally just a randomly generated islands with finding cats and then little balls of wool for the cats to play with. But by the way they describe this game in all of the blurbs is like the most heartbreaking thing ever. And they're just like, it's winter outside and it's snowy and all of the cats have been left outside by their owners and they're so lonely and cold and you're gonna have to find them. And of course my heart went, yes, I will find all of them for you. So that was a very chill and very nice game to play. Just padding around and find it. It's cute, it's fun, there's no thinking involved, you just find them. There's a couple of things that I was a bit like, probably could have done a little bit better them. So they had this thing where you come close to a cat, it meows, but I'm not sure they really got the sound engineering right in which ear it was meant to be. So it would meow in this ear, so you go off this way and it'd be like, oh no, definitely not over here. So you have to go back the other way and find it. And the hint mechanic, so you could just click on the cat and it would tell you, like, give you a little picture of where it was near. But I mean, it was the most generic picture in the world. It could have been several, like, they have the same assets throughout different parts of the island, so it could have been anything. Which was a bit like, at that point, it's not really a hint. But, I mean, it's not difficult. You know, you spend long enough on there, you'll find them all. Which is fine, because if you're playing this game in a rush, then you shouldn't be playing the game. It's meant to be relaxing and chill and taking your time with it. So
You got speedrun it.
Speedrun Hidden Pause. Can't draw dicks in the snow though, which was disappointing because it's a camera angle only. You're not an actual human being running around finding the cats. But yeah, it's a cute game. If you like that kind of thing, it was like £2.50 on the Switch. It was in 79p on Steam. So
Fucking hell. All right.
just, go and play and have a chill. Next game is not a new game, but I went back and replayed Unpacking because we love Unpacking. It is the best.
Unpacking represent.
Unpacking. I just went back and played it again. Obviously did it quicker this time because it's like the third time I played it now. So but I will never get bored of that game. I will play it and play it and play it, and it will always be fantastic. And I will always love it. Now what? On to next. Destiny 2. We have come to the conclusion of our season of the Haunted. Now we go on to basically trying to make sure that all of our challenges are done, which are never done. So, but yes, we came to a wonderfully satisfying conclusion. Spoilers ahead. If you play Destiny, if you are going to play Destiny, especially this season, just skip ahead now. 3, 2, 1. So we finally said goodbye to Daddy Callus. He has been absorbed by the darkness, by the witness.
We popped his giant purple head.
We did. We popped it like a raspberry. He is gone, so we probably won't be seeing any more of him in the future, which is a bit sad because Callus has been in since the beginning of Destiny 2. He's always been a bit of a he's that weird dad that tries to be cool and tries to vibe with your friends, but doesn't really hit it off. But they kind of like him because he buys them booze. So that's basically what it was like for his daughter Keitel. We got to see some lovely ending to the storylines of Keitel, Zavala, and Crow, kind of coming to terms with their haunted, what they're being haunted by, and they all say goodbye and disappeared. Safi, who was Zavala's wife, it was very sad when she went. I did cry a little bit. But yeah, we've come to an end of that now. So that is that for this season. There are some reaction videos on my YouTube if anybody wants to watch them. So yeah, that's Destiny 2 done. What else have I played? Oh yeah, I played something with Tempus and Hall on Monday because I really wanted to play with my friends because I hadn't for a while and I was being a terrible, awful human being. We played Monster Hunter Rise. And it was fun. It's I think the sentiment was echoed around all of our group that are playing. It's not quite as friendly as Monster Hunter World. But there again, it was much cheaper than Monster Hunter World. It's kind of a much smaller game. They still have really cool armor, and that's the only thing I give a shit about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was. I think literally when we was playing it, I said they've made the multiplayer so different compared to World, and Worlds was so good. But I think the main issue was that this was built specifically for the Switch.
Yeah.
Over anything else, so maybe they couldn't. I mean, I say that when we're playing it on PC.
Yeah.
So it's fine, but it's so good because there's 2 or 3 things that are in Rise that I'd have loved to have had in World.
Yeah.
And one of them is the fact that when you join a lobby with someone, you're actually running in the overworld with people. You don't just see them in the gathering hub.
Yeah.
If we're in that lobby, why do we need a single player mode and a multiplayer mode? Which I mean, I haven't really played much of the single player mode, but it feels like they're both just going to end up going in the same direction when it comes to story.
Yeah.
I don't know why they couldn't just do what they did with World and have it all in just one long story thing. I guess they have their reasons, but
game devs will always have their reasons. It doesn't necessarily mean it was right.
I mean, just give me World, but give me everyone in the lobby, wire bugs and the Palamuts, and I'll be happy.
I expect if you wait maybe 3 or 4 years, you'll probably get that. To be honest,
Possibly.
I can't imagine they haven't brought out another piece of DLC for world, have they? After
No,
the one was called.
They got Iceborne. That was it. It was the
Yeah.
one single piece of DLC. But they've just released the DLC for Rise this month.
Sunbreaker, is that
month.
it?
Yeah. So that's like a week out. That's been out a week.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun battering beasts with your friends and just kind of being ridiculous. And like Hall and Tempus are much higher level than me, so obviously they did most of the work, which was great because I didn't have to do anything. I did get to ride the beasts though. That was good. That was fun. Although one of them I was just going around in a circle going, how the fuck do I get this into a wall?
I was just stood there watching you rodeo it around this little like pond area. I'm like, it normally kicks you off by now.
No, it wanted me.
Like
it wanted me. And then I did 69 damage when I did actually hit it against a wall.
Nice.
Perfect game.
Exactly, perfect. So yeah, that was fun. And then we're going to play it again. Like, we're going to get to a group and play it again because it's nice. It's one of those things where, yeah, you do have to concentrate a little bit when you're like fighting the thing, but actually you can just kind of vibe and chat and just kind of roam around and piss about a bit.
Well, when you said like about playing it, like I was umming and ahhing whether to just make a new character or anything, but then I was like, do you know what, I'll just come in and batter it.
I was going to say, sometimes it's just fun when you're really high level to do the low level people's things.
Well, the thing is, you still need to go and fight low level stuff again to get stuff for armor and weapons.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's not like it's a waste of time and effort to then go in and do it with the old character, but it just means we catch you up with things a lot quicker.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like I said, armor is... There's probably going to be a Monster Hunter armor cosplay coming for EGX. Let's face it. Possibly not all armor, but... And then the last one that I played recently, which is another Switch game, and I haven't finished it yet, but I am adoring it, is a game called Figment, which is a little bit old now, and I think somebody's played it in this podcast. No? Do you know what? I watched somebody play this on stream, and I can't remember who it is. I thought it was you, Tempus, because it's a very Tempus game.
EGX, didn't we? I think. Like,
was it EGX?
Now. It was, yeah. Yeah, I've seen it at loads of EGXs.
Maybe I've played this game before.
I think that's what you're remembering.
Probably. I watched myself play it. But it's a mental health game. It is a mental health game. You have to keep that in mind. And it could, right at the beginning, there is an incident that could release some trauma for people. So do be warned. But you go around these islands of, I mean, I don't know the best way of describing them. They're to do with different parts of the brain, but it's all surrounded by music, being like the thing that's like brings everything together. And it's a puzzle game foremost, but there is a little bit of fighting in it. It's not hard fighting, I will say. It's quite easy. Even the bosses are easy so far. Obviously, I haven't got to the end of it yet, but the thing about these games is the puzzles, and they're so well thought of. The way you have to solve them, they're very like, okay, I need to bring this thing to this thing and do this thing with it over here, and like then I can take that over there, and that'll make I can go on to this part of the island. But then there's these amazing things you can do with like windmills, which like obviously blow air, and it like takes things away, so you can walk over things over here, and then you have to pick something up to go back and put it over there to make that windmill go over there, and then you put the first windmill in a different position. It's just so well thought of. It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. The story is really it's perfect for that kind of game. A relaxing puzzle with a little bit of fighting is the best way I can describe it. But like I said, it is about mental health. And there are things that you do sit there and go, oh no. Like it really does hit a level with, I'm sorry, if it doesn't hit a level with you, then probably go see a psychiatrist. But yeah, it's like, it's beautiful. It was on offer. I think it was like $7.99 on the Switch. So if you're looking for a game on the Switch at the moment, I mean, it is on other things as well, but if you're looking for a game on the Switch at the moment, I would recommend it. It is a lot of fun. And I think I was playing for a couple of hours before Andy got up on Saturday, and then I will probably play even more on Saturday before Andy gets up. bit of a theme here. Yeah, I don't know how long it is. He's a sleepy boy. I don't think it's particularly long, but so yeah, probably a couple more 2-hour sessions will do it. But yeah, it's really good. I would recommend it already to people. If you like puzzle games, it's a good one.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And that's me. I am updated with all of the things that I have played. Don't expect me to play anything next week.
Fine. I've got games.
Very good.
I will say I've downloaded like 4 or 5 games off the PlayStation Plus subscription thing.
Oh my god.
You will like, so.
Well, know where I'm going. Well, I would say I know what I'm doing this weekend, but I do know what I'm doing this weekend, and it's not playing games.
I mean, there may be some game playing at the thing.
Possibly. No, nobody is touching my Stardew Valley board get a box. Okay, everybody will mess it up. They're all going to be drinking.
I was more thinking Jackbox. That's more.
We could do Jackbox. Oh, there, but then we'd have to. Anyway, we're not talking about that on the podcast. But needless to say, everybody who's usually involved with this podcast. Oh my god! Everybody that's usually involved with this podcast will be at this barbecue, so don't expect much this weekend.
Apart from drinking. And food consumption.
And possibly live streaming from drinking.
Unnamed Gaming Podcast reviews this burger.
Oh my god. Unnamed food reviews.
Oh no.
We branch out to everything.
Oh no. It's the Unnamed Productions.
It is indeed.
We didn't say what we were producing.
Fucking everything.
Right. Well, what a wonderful assortment of games. And now we go on to the news portion of our podcast, which this week is both light but also heavy. And it's light, and obviously Andy doesn't have anything because we didn't prep him for this. I couldn't find anything decent, but there was one very big bit of news that I'm going to let Tempusbe talk about.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Right. So, yes, we had today the announcement for the release date, finally, of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And that will be November the 9th this year.
Yeah. There's been a lot of wondering whether it was going to get pushed back to next year. Everybody got a bit like, ooh, it's getting close.
It makes me laugh, actually. They did this at the same time that they announced a delay for
I did see that, yeah.
So it's kind of like, we've got a delay for Spoken, but here's God of War Ragnarok.
Here's God of War. We're giving you something.
How much the delay of Forspoken was related to the movement of Ragnarok to when its release date was, because they definitely said as part of their press release that there was some finagling about like it being for certain partners. I think it's a PlayStation exclusive, right, Forspoken?
Yeah.
PlayStation, PC.
Yeah. It is just weird that it's kind of like cover up a bit of crappy news with like some good news. But I think the hype behind God of War Ragnarok is just enough to like whatever. I mean, Forspoken looks good, but I don't think it's got as big a buzz about it as this has, just because of the fact that this is a sequel to one of like my favorite games that I've played.
Still haven't played I still haven't played remake God of War.
I'm terrible because I'm one of these people that comes to games very late with things. There's very few games that I will play when they come out. That was Ratchet and Clank and Spider-Man and all of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
I literally pre-ordered them day one. They were at my house. I was playing away. But things like this and Breath of the Wild and I mean, I did play Horizon Zero Dawn when it came out, but I never finished it. It wasn't until like last year that I actually played for it and finished it again. But like, I'm like that. I kind of wait and then play it when like I've got no one going, oh my god, it's so good, or what it's so bad. Everyone's kind of forgotten about it, and I can then forge my own kind of opinion on it. But have you seen the 30-second trailer that come with it?
No, I haven't. I've only seen the picture. I was at work and I literally put it in our off-topic channel, and literally the entire studio was like, yes! I was like, Jesus Christ, guys, calm down. Get back to fucking work.
We heard the news. We heard the news.
It's I mean, it doesn't overly show too much. It shows that Atreus has grown. He's now, because he was 11 in the first game, he is now probably like 15, 16. He's got a quite deep voice on him now.
Oh wow!
He's hit puberty.
Somebody's hit puberty.
But yeah, and he's up here on Kratos now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's gonna keep playing like it was before, where you kind of just go, oh, shoot that, shoot that. I wonder if they're gonna give him his own real gameplay stuff in it, because I could just from thinking about that there, like they give him his own thing. I wonder if like this will be like the end of Kratos as the God of War, and then the start of Atreus's games. Kind of like he will get his own game series as the God of something.
Well, it'll be the God of Mischief, won't it?
Mischief, yeah, because technically, spoilers, Loki.
Yeah. I kind of. Oh yeah, it's been out for ages. I kind of think so. I was literally
out for a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's I kind of think so. I think people are gonna hate me for this, but I actually think he's gonna die like a quarter of the way through the game, and it will turn into like a revenge mission for Atreus. That's what I'm predicting.
What is that? I literally had something in my head then that made me think of like, not necessarily. It might have been because I know the story of Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But from what we've seen, like obviously he's still got his axe and everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw the Chaos Blades, but I mean, if you don't start with them and you have to collect them halfway through again, there's something wrong there. But he's still got his axe. He's still got the Leviathan axe. He's still got the shield. But they're fighting, and they're both doing the narration, like they're both talking like about each other, about what's to come and everything. And Kratos gets knocked off this cliff, falls down. He gets surrounded by stuff. Atreus kind of comes up behind him. And it pans around behind him, and you see Fenrir, the wolf, just stood in front of them. So that is going to be, oh my god, that's going to be so good. And obviously this one, pretty much the big bad is already confirmed as Thor.
Well, we saw that at the end of the last one.
Yeah, it pretty much hinted at that, but like the only other one, because like obviously Ragnarok we all know is the end of it's Asgard, isn't it?
Yeah.
End of the Norse gods. But like another thing is like, do they go to Thor and then like, do we then get Odin turning up in a later game or something? There's so many things you could do with this. But, from what I saw of the 30-second trailer, I'm excited. We didn't see anything about Freya, though. Obviously, she swore vengeance at the end of the last one. So I reckon she'll turn up to fuck things up every now and then.
Probably.
She'll be like a nuisance throughout the game. But yeah, from what I saw, I'm excited for it. I'm glad we didn't it's given you enough to go, fuck, I'm ready for this. And the fact that it is just a matter of like, what are we, like 5 months away? I think literally like 5 months and 3 days away from this coming out now. And the speed this year's going, it'll feel like 3 weeks.
It'll be a week out before we even know it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm so excited for this, and I'm glad they've given us a date. I don't think really. The only other thing I think that probably would have rivaled this for getting a release date would probably have been the sequel to the Breath of the Wild 2, Revenge of Ganondorf.
No, we've already discussed this, Tempest. The title for the sequel to Breath of the Wild 2 is the sequel to Breath of the Wild 2. All right? This is what they said the other day. This is what they said, and I'm going to hold them to it, okay? If you're going to fucking announce and put shit out and all the shit that they've done and got people excited, I'm going to hold you to the title that you gave us.
They've released several trailers for that game, right? And they've still not given it a proper title.
Exactly.
Multiple trailers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, usually Zelda stuff comes out in November because it always comes out near Bendy's birthday. They ain't going to want to do that this year because that's when Dad of War is coming out.
I mean, they could do it end of November, but...
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
I kind of feel like Nintendo are just going to be like, Oh, you want a title? Oh, you want a release date? Have both at the same time. They'll just do that. They'll give us a direct. It'll be the last thing on this direct,
Yeah.
and it will come up with like some stuff, and then it will come up with the actual new title for it, and then it will come up with a date, and everyone will table flip with excitement.
And then it'll be shit.
Well, Bendy will table flip.
I was going to say, Bendy will just flip all the tables. She'll come one by one around the podcast and flip the tables over.
Excuse me, I've come to flip your tables.
But...
Can we offer you a flip your table service?
But yeah, no, looks good.
It's been long awaited. Yeah, I mean, I will. Yeah.
I think it's been one of them ones though, isn't it? That it's not. People have been waiting for it, but it's never had like the release date, and it's never been pushed back or delayed, has it? They've never.
Well, I mean,
was it supposed to come out? Was it supposed to come out last year, or was it supposed to come out at the beginning of this year, like spring? And then they were kind of like, it's going to be later.
I think people thought it was coming out.
There was speculation, but they never confirmed ever. I mean, internally, yes, there probably is confirmation dates of when it should have been, but externally, we'll never know until somebody leaks it.
We've got a date now, so that's something to look forward to.
And people are going to be looking forward to it. That is all anybody's going to be talking about for the next 3 months. Honestly,
watch it. It's literally 30 seconds, but watch it just for that Fenrir reveal. I mean, have you seen Fenrir they put in Assassin's Creed Valhalla?
No.
It does not look good.
No, really.
Yeah, he looks like he almost looks like a starving wolf in a shit cartoon.
Oh no!
It's not really what you want from your.
It's also not Fenrir, so.
No. But
yeah. I wonder if he'll be playable at Gamescom. Might be a bit early. 3 months out.
They may just be trying to push it out at this point and not bothering to try and do a demo for it. That's quite a.
They know they don't have to, but I'm just wondering if PlayStation are there. Then.
Don't know. They announced anything of what is what isn't playable. Do they tend to do that with Gamescom, or is it just like on the weekend people find out what it is?
Yeah, I mean, opening night usually has some stuff that
just turn up and find out. Pretty much.
I
think that's it.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, it is coming to PlayStation 4 and 5 though.
Oh, they're doing. Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
They said from the start it was going to be available on PlayStation 4.
So, and then PlayStation acknowledgement that there just haven't quite been enough PlayStation 5s made to satisfy demand yet, and they don't want people not to be able to buy the game.
So there's a thing that you cannot get PS4 dev kits from PlayStation anymore. They are not sending them out to people. You can only get PS5s. Right? Yeah, he's first party, which means they might have a little bit of sway, but still, I mean, there's a reason why they're not sending PS4 stuff out to people anymore. They don't want you to develop on it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of stuff as well. Like again, announced with this was, did you ever see Biomutant?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is now getting a PlayStation 5 and a Series X update, which is a free update, I think. So if you own the game. You then what was it that had it when PlayStation 5 first launched? There was a game you had. It was a game that was already out, but they was giving you a free PlayStation 5 upgrade for it as long as you owned it, as soon as you got it. But I can't remember
the first party ones.
Morales?
I cannot for the life of me remember what it is now, but.
The thing is, Andy, you're literally one of the best people to ask about this. How difficult is it to port from PS4 to PS5?
I think that probably depends on a lot of things. Probably mainly if you're using an engine, a pre-existing engine or not, and how deep you've gone on extra stuff. If you've written a lot of your own things that interface on a really low level, then it'll be more effort. If you made your own engine, it's a lot more effort. It's completely different. completely different beast, as it were.
For example, Ragnarok. I don't know what engine they used, but I presume it would have been the same one as the original God of War.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sure I've looked it up, but I think it is a engine. It's not. I don't know if it's like their own in-house thing, but they're a first-party studio anyway, so like they will be developing. They will probably have got their thing to target both things. Yeah, it's like if you're most people are using like Unreal or Unity, I don't think it's like vastly difficult. Obviously you've got more grunt on the PS5, so you can do more. And to take advantage of that, you might need to like have higher res textures. But if you're releasing for PC anyway, then your textures are going to be higher res than the PS4 can handle to begin with. So like you just use the higher quality stuff on PS5 and it looks better. That's probably what's happening with Biomutant. That would be my guess, is that when they released it, because I think you can play any PS4 game on the PS5. So you just be playing it with PS4 quality textures and shaders and stuff, and then if they release a PS5 upgrade, maybe it will play a bit better. Like maybe it'll look nicer. Maybe they're releasing a 4K mode for it or something. I don't know. I'm looked into the details.
Engine.
What's her Genetica? Kinetica. That sounds like something that might be in house. This is God of War, right? We're talking about, or
So no, God of War. Yeah, I was looking to see what that was.
Yeah, that sounds like an in-house thing. I don't think that rings a bell. Decima is the one that
it says Santa Monica's.
Oh, it's Santa Monica.
Santa Monica's thing. Yeah.
So that'll be just their Santa Monica's just Ragnarok, just Thor, isn't it? Not Thor. God of War. They don't do anything else.
Getting your Norse mythology mixed up there.
I'm getting my Norse mythology mixed up. Yeah, no, they just do God of War, so it's probably their own thing.
I can tell you in a second. It literally only has God of War on their website, so
yeah.
Damn.
It's Naughty Dog do other things as well as Last of Us. They did
Crash Bandicoot. They do
Uncharted.
Uncharted, yeah. No, I love Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog, great.
The only reason I remember that they did Uncharted is because we watched the Uncharted movie the other day, and he has a sticker in his suitcase that's just Naughty Dog.
See, one of my favourite studios is Insomniac, but that's only because I'm a Ratchet and Clank fangirl. But then I liked. I hated it when it first came out because it was Xbox exclusive, and I bought the PlayStation 4. But what's it called? Sunset Overdrive.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, was that the weird like skating and tagging one or something?
Yeah, it was like you grind on poles and stuff.
Yeah.
But everyone that drank this energy drink turned into then like this monster and everything. It was like you'd been walled off in this city. And really good game, really clever game, really funny. I don't think people gave it as much love as it maybe should have got, but
yeah,
I think it's because it was Xbox exclusive. But then I kind of get it, because up until that point, Insomniac had been doing Ratchet and Clank games, and they're exclusive to PlayStation. So, is what it is.
Yeah, you got to go where the money gives you. So,
money. I'll make you a game.
Full. Yes. It's big news, really. News that a lot of people are waiting for, even if it wasn't everybody having news. We all contributed. So, going on to our question, and actually the reason why I got Andy to come on the podcast tonight, because I told him this question, and I then sat listening for 15 minutes as he rambled off his answer to me, and I was a bit like, well, that's a better answer than mine, so...
Yeah, mine's going to be shite.
Yes, Tempusbe did a Bendy and apparently misunderstood the question or something, I don't. But our question comes from... I didn't understand the assignment, yeah. Our question tonight comes from Tom Dwar.
Hey, Tom.
His name... His online name is Tom Chunk Dwar, is that it?
Chunk Tom Dwar.
Sure. But our question tonight is, what sequel took something away from the original that it really shouldn't have? And I'm going to go straight to Tempus because I want to know how he misunderstood the assignment, as I always do with these things.
All right, okay. Well, I mean, I read the question, but my brain automatically gave me an answer, and I was just like, I can't not get it out of my head now. But it is more a case of what they changed in the sequels that, like, I mean, it kind of answers it, but it's like it changed something in the sequels that just made the game. It was like with the characters, they're there. I mean, I've definitely spoken about this on the podcast before. You'll have heard me rant about this. But like, if you'd have given new characters, fine, different game, but they completely changed the way the game was, and that is Jak and Daxter going into Jak and Daxter 2.
Yeah, we've heard him rant about this.
Oh, you'll never not hear me rant about this.
You go and rant. You go rant, boy.
Don't get me wrong. I love all of the Jak and Daxter games. They are all good games, bar Jak X. Jak X it's a racing game, really, with a bit of story in it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that. All, I mean, I can kind of go into that as well because they've changed it even further down the line. But like, you go from Jak 1, which is your regular, just platformer, colourful, all that kind of whatnot, collectibles, and you're doing your spinny attacks, and you've got it is your just base like 90s, early 2000s platformer. And then they go into Jak 2. Fair enough. I get the story. You make things darker and stuff like that. But they then add vehicles and mugging people for these vehicles and guns. And it's like, I know why they did it, because GTA had gone big. Yes? What? Sorry.
Kids.
Children. But yeah, it's like they completely like flipped it on its head to like, you know, you could still do these moves and stuff, but why would you? You've got a shotgun now. You know, and like I was saying as well, the reason they did it is because of the popularity of GTA at the time. And they basically just went, well, everyone likes stealing cars and shooting people. Let's do that with Jak and Daxter. But like I said, they're still good games. They are still good games. But it took everything that I really loved it was one of my favorite games as a kid. Like that and Ratchet and Clank, like side by side for me, when they first come out and everything. But like, it's just they just flipped it on its head and turned it into something that it probably like, you know, you could have easily stuck him in that world, but you know, maybe not have it so dark and gun powy. And then like obviously like going on again, you've got Jak X, which is set in the same world, but now you're racing cars and in like in death races, and it's like you've taken the persona of this brilliant game and in the sequel just completely turned it into something else that could have just you could have made up a new main character for it.
Yeah.
And had yourself still a brilliant game.
But not in a franchise that was already known for something else.
Set it in the Jak and Daxter universe.
Yeah.
Just have different protagonists.
I'd be really interested to know if the games had different designers for each one. Because when you have the same designer, you can feel the same game. But it's when they start bringing in different designers who are like, oh, I've just played this really snappy game, and guys, we should do this. It's like, yeah, but that's not the game that came before. Did you even play it?
Let's see. So Naughty Dog had it 2001 till 2005.
Yeah.
So that's Jak and Daxter, Jak and Daxter 2, and Jak and Daxter 3.
That doesn't necessarily mean they had the same game designer, though.
No.
It looks like, looking at the covers, it looks like it's a different series.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like you've just completely changed.
Yeah.
it doesn't. It's very odd. It's very odd. It's like taking Spyro and putting it in like, suddenly setting it in the GTA universe. I don't know if that's an accurate like an assessment of this of what it feels like, but
I mean, I kind of have the same little grumble about some of the later Ratchet and Clank games because they went Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank 2, Ratchet and Clank 3. I think they went up to 4, which was Commando, and then they started changing it. Like one was All for One, which was pretty good, but it was like up to 4 players, kind of side scrolly co-op game. And then it went to Nexus, which become almost like a resource gathering tower defense game. I think it was Into the Nexus. It might have been Quantum, to be fair. There's so many. This is the thing with Ratchet and Clank. I love it as a series, but there are so many games.
All of them.
But then they did, I think, actually, no. I'm going to have to Google it because I'm not sure which way it came out. Well, where are we? So it went, Ratchet and Clank, Going Commando, up your arsenal, Deadlocked. Deadlocked was the first one that changed a little bit because they took Clank away from you. They gave him you had your 2 separate stories because Ratchet had been captured and sent into like a gladiatorial thing.
Oh, okay.
It was still a good game, but it's a big change to the fact that you'd spent 3 games playing with a backpack that could help you float and get higher in places.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, here we go. And then, so that was the original series, then 4. And then from the PlayStation 3, it went Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, A Crack in Time, which was your 3 main ones. And then Into the Nexus. But Into the Nexus was really short.
Yeah.
I remember it being really short. And then obviously you got Rift Apart, which is the latest one. And it says other games here. So these ones aren't strictly in line with like the story of the other games. But Size Matters was really good. That was a PSP game.
Okay.
Never played Secret Agent Clank. But I know you play as Clank. All for One was the 4-player one. Full Frontal Assault. Which one was that? Can't even see where that is. Oh, that's Q Force. So Q Force is the tower defense one. I knew one of them was tower defense. And where's the other one? It is. Oh no, maybe it's Into the Nexus was the other one I'm thinking of. Where is that? That's the top. Yeah, so Into the Nexus was just a shorter version of the regular ones. But like, obviously, it was just the fact that on this Q Force one, it's because they changed the names everywhere because they're all supposed to be like risque with their titles. Because like most places, Ratchet and Clank, then it's Going Commando, then it's Up Your Arsenal. And I think it was called Ratchet and Clank 4 otherwise. But like and then you got Quest for Booty. But yeah, it's like you had this great game series and then this weird tower defense game for no real reason. Because it's the first time you'd have any kind of tower defense in a Ratchet and Clank game. But
yeah,
I think that's the thing that gets me. I understand when games need to change things up to keep them fresh. You can't just keep repeating literally the same game every time. You need to add new mechanics and stuff.
True, but there's definitely a difference between changing the mechanics and just having a completely different genre of game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's my big gripe with Jack and Daxter. Is it does feel like it is. They are 2 separate games.
Yeah.
Like you could probably play Jack 2 without playing Jack and Daxter. You know, it's because you wouldn't feel like you've missed anything playing Jack and Daxter. But if you play Jack and Daxter and then you go and play Jack 2, it's especially if you play them kind of like close together, like if you go back to back, it's such a vast contrast in gameplay and everything. Because rather than running around doing collectibles and stuff, you're then, because this is the thing, it's like they again picking off of the GTA thing. They give you a mini map and you go and see people for quests. So you're traveling all around the map to see quest givers and things like this. And it's like the original one was a usual one. It was slightly open world to effect, like you're on an island. You could go to any of these places at any time. But you'd go. But then when you got to a place, it felt like a contained level. You know, there was collectibles you had to get in this certain area. There was bosses you had to fight in a certain area and things like this. And I liked that. And again, I didn't hate Jak 2. It just annoyed me that they'd switched up the style and gameplay and everything like that on the flip of its head. It's suddenly become this dark, moody GTA knockoff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's definitely you understood the incitement perfectly well. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think that was a miss.
It's only because it's like it's something it took away from the first, and I was like, it's just changed.
It just completely, it took away from being not the first one.
Yeah, I think going from like a sort of cartoony action game to being like a gritty, serious GTA ripoff is definitely not like, as you say, that's definitely taking away the first game's thing.
But there is a reason why the first, like Jak and Daxter, the first Jak and Daxter, everybody still loves it today and has emotional, sentimental value over it. It's because it was a good game that did stuff, and then you go and change it into a completely different game.
Well, it's funny as well because like in the first one, Jak is mute.
Yeah.
And it's quite comedic with the fact that Jackster does all the talking and he's got his quips and things like that. And then you go into 2 and he can suddenly talk and he's a moody
dick
like, teen, basically. But you've still got this
quirky,
natty, rodent on his shoulder. So it's I think they were trying to keep the same comedy sense into it, but then still make it dark and gritty. And I mean, like I said, I can't hate on it because it is a good game. I'm not
just not a Jak and Daxter game.
Yeah, not for 1 second saying it's a bad game. I'd say go and play it if you can. It's on the PS Plus subscription service now. But yeah, it just is. It's like playing 2 different games.
Very good answer, Tempus. Well done. We like it. Yeah, good round. Good round. And Andy, over to you.
Yeah. So, my game is Supreme Commander and its sequel, Supreme Commander 2. Although you could argue that Supreme Commander also, this Total Annihilation also fits into this. I don't know if you've played any of those games. They're all RTS games made in, I can't remember what the lead designer is. He's quite well known. So they're sort of very like the idea of the games is that they scale quite a bit. So you're often managing large numbers of units and you're building big huge armies and sending them over to fight other huge armies. And it has very sort of sophisticated like queuing systems. There's a lot of like more macro-y stuff. So if you've played StarCraft is very like there's a lot of clicking. So you're constantly like clicking back and forth to different buildings and things and building stuff like continually like building stuff as soon as you have the resource available. And Total Annihilation and Supreme Commander both had this very sort of revolutionary at the time resource management system where rather than it being based on like discrete chunks of like resource, so in Age of Empires, if you have a villager going to mine I don't know, or chop down trees, they'll go and they'll chop down a tree and they'll take the tree back to the town center, and then you can spend that on a unit. So you can buy a unit and then you click the button, you spend the currency, you buy the unit gets built, done. In Total Annihilation and Supreme Commander, you can queue up as many units as you like. You don't have to have the resource available right now for the unit, and the building will consume resource as it builds the unit. And all of your things that produce resource, like usually buildings like mines and solar panels, will produce resource on a constant basis. And so the whole game is a careful balancing act of building enough resource, like gathering stuff, and building enough bases to produce units to be able to continually sort of send and fight and to defend your territory. And you're kind of in this sort of constant, like it makes it feel very sort of like you're constantly juggling these things to kind of keep your sort of operation going, as it were, and not falling behind, and not like accidentally building. Like if you build too many factories and produce too many units, then you lose because you've run out of resources, and now you don't have any resources to spend building more extraction or more like solar panels. And if you go the other way and you build loads of solar panels but you don't build and resource gathering, but you don't build enough factories, you're wasting resource because your resource just gets capped out at like the maximum, and that's it. And that so both Total Annihilation and Supreme Commander had that sort of resource model, and it was really cool. It made the games feel a very specific way to play, and you were kind of sort of, it felt more like you were managing a machine almost that made units. You just like set your factories up doing what they're doing, and like then you leave them and you go on to the next thing of like building more solar panels, building a new type of factory, whatever, and your factory just carries on churning out units and going away to fight. And so then they brought out a sequel to Supreme Commander, Supreme Commander 2. Supreme Commander 2 completely ditched that resource model. They just went back to the normal resource model where you mine stuff and then you click a button and you spend it, and that's it, and it's gone. And so you constantly back to having to like micromanage your factories and add new stuff every time you want to build it. They kept, there was another nice feature in Supreme Commander where you could zoom out, see the whole map, and zoom back in. They called tactical zoom, which was very cool. And they kept that, but the lack of a flow-based economy meant that it just felt like a completely different game to play. It just felt like playing like Age of Empires or something. And yeah, I literally downloaded the demo, played it, was like, and uninstalled it and never played it again.
It almost feels like they went backwards with the way it worked. Like,
yeah,
2
exactly.
should have been like what 1 was, and then 1 should have been the upgrade. Like, well, look what you can do now.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, here's some new content or whatever. But they invent this really cool thing. They use it once, and then they ditch it for no discernible reason. But I assume to make the game more simple to understand. I think maybe that's part of it, because it was quite complicated. Maybe they wanted to court the StarCraft audience. I'm not really sure, but it just wasn't. It didn't feel as like, if you were looking for more, the only, like, those, as far as I'm aware at the time anyway, those were the only games that had that style of resource management. Every other game, LTS game in existence pretty much, has the sort of fixed, like, you click a button and you pay immediately the cost. They were the only games that had the flow-based resource management. Everyone was like, oh, let's this, like, people who like those games really like them specifically, and other RTSs less. And so if you're looking for like more of that, and then they go, oh no, we've just made our RTS like all the others, then you're like, oh, well, I'm not sure I want to play it then.
Yeah.
And I just went back and played the original.
That's the thing. Like, if that's what you enjoyed in the game, and then you're excited for the second one, and they're like, no, we've taken that bit out. Because don't get me wrong, I love playing games where I can automate my resources and things like that.
Exactly. That was what was fun about it, really. More so than like, that's why you would play that instead of Age of Empires or Command and Conquer or StarCraft. Yeah. So that's my game.
That is the correct way to answer, because they took something out of it.
Well, they did take something out of Jak and Daxter. They took Jak and Daxter's actual Jak and Daxter out of Jak and Daxter.
All of characterization. You know?
Very cool. Very nice answer. Thank you, Andy. So see, the thing is, I'm gonna completely backtrack on what I told Andy before, because like a good cosplay host, that's not right. Like a good podcast host, I actually always have more than one answer in the bank. So my game, where I think they took away from something in the sequel, is actually BioShock 3. And what they took away was Rapture. And I know a lot of people like BioShock 3. I know they like Columbia. They like how light and pretty it is. You don't go down, you go up. Booker DeWitt, Elizabeth, all that crap. But to me, and this is saying something because you know how much I hate the creeps. Not having the creepiness of Rapture took a massive chunk of what the game actually is away from it. The whole point of BioShock is meant to be this really creepy game where, this society has fallen and you're figuring out what's happened and you're trying to do things and kill people and, you're getting all kinds of crap injected into you. Although that's a problem I have with Bioshock 2. Why the fuck would a daddy need to have shit like injected into him? Okay, the whole point of him, he's a bit of a freak and has been tested and is all weird and mutilated and shit. So, you know, but yeah. I know Bioshock 3 in itself, Bioshock Infinite, is a good game. Much like Tempusbe's, if it was a game that didn't have Bioshock on the front and was just called Infinite, about this place that you go and find in the sky that's all a bit weird and a bit backwards and you have to try and save this girl, blah, 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 it would be fine. But they shoved Bioshock in it and tried to implement some of Bioshock's, like, you know, you've got Vigors in Infinite, which try and do the same thing. It's like, there's something not quite right about it being so bright and airy. And then it gets even worse when they try and make it like, you know, the original Bioshocks by, spoiler alert, Burial at Sea, sending Elizabeth all the way back to Rapture before it fell. See, I know Andy's played all of the Bioshocks. He has a great love of Bioshock, but more Bioshock 2, more than anything else. Yeah, I know that much.
Bioshock 2 is my favourite, particularly the DLC, I think.
There's that the multiplayer in the DLC, or is that something else?
I don't think so. I think it's basically, it's kind of similar gameplay wise, but the story in the DLC is better than the story in the main game. The story in the DLC, I don't remember what it is, but I remember it being like, yes, this is very, very good, and it's kind of the same gameplay. It's like a you are a big daddy, which kind of like the tower, like it works very well for like the tower defense when you're defending the little sisters from being killed.
And I get that, and that's another thing that I think is really missing from Infinite is you have this one girl to look after, whereas obviously you don't have any of the little sisters. And it's like, I feel like a little sister is an intrinsic thing for Bioshock, like the big daddy, and even the big sisters to a certain extent. They are intrinsic to the value of what Bioshock is. But then we go on to Infinite, which is just this one girl that you're looking after, and, you know, spoiler alert, you find out she's your fucking daughter. So it just felt like Infinite should have been a different game. Perfectly the same, but different game.
It's almost the reverse of what I complained about with Jack and Daxter. It's gone from dark to light and airy, whereas the other one was light and colourful and went to dark.
Yeah.
And it's kind of an aesthetic thing, because there's a lot of darkness, TM, in the universe of Bioshock Infinite. Like, the whole place is like...
Oh yeah, obviously, there's the underground shit where you find out it's all racist and shit. Yeah, there's dark in that sense, but I mean dark and gritty as in the entire tone. Like,
yeah.
The thing about Bioshock is you wanted to run around a corner and then all of a sudden there'd be a splicer there and, oh fuck, what do I do? But you don't really get that in Infinite. No, obviously you get...
I will admit the tone is different.
Yeah.
And I think they could have done, because obviously, like, spoilers for Bioshock Infinite, the whole game is kind of about how the universe is like... It's and I believe the sequel as well. It's all to do with parallel universes, and this is just a different universe where rather than the thing that the weirdo builds, like the weird
under the sea, they go into the sky.
It's in the sky, and like it's just kind of like a different. They're all just sort of mirrors of each other. But like they could have done it in a way that preserved the tone a bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
Like creepy.
I don't think it brought anything to it. Sorry.
It was definitely stuck in development hell for a bit, that game.
Infinite, yeah.
Yeah, the first two. The first one was made by the studio that made Infinite, and 2 is made by a different studio, which is interesting because I think 2 does fit tonally with, like, it's a different game, but it fits tonally with 1, and they made the universe feel the same, which is quite impressive given that it wasn't the same studio. I think it got stuck in development hell. I think that's probably why they didn't make another one, or at least Ken Levine didn't make another one.
I would. Oh, sorry. Go on, Tempus.
I was just going to say, like, it's like what I said a bit earlier. It was like and you've mentioned already, is you could have easily taken that and just had it a different game entirely. You didn't need to have Bioshock on it.
Yeah.
You could have set it in the Bioshock universe.
Yeah, for sure.
But give it a new title.
It's kind of like, I guess, with Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs, they're literally set in the same universe, but they're different games. But they have some kind of cool connections with them, and you hear about it. But they definitely made sure they were different games in what they were. It's like, you can do that. You can have a universe, it's fine, but make sure your games are different and they're not like, if they're completely tonally different, don't make them the same title. It's like, nobody's going to hate you for that.
A lot to do with like wanting to like play off the power of the original game's success, right?
For sure.
That's basically all. Like,
but sometimes that hurts
you can have
them.
money if it's a sequel.
Yeah, it does hurt them sometimes though, because people come out and say, "Well, this is a fine game. It's just not this game," you know.
Well,
it's like an expectation thing, right?
Yeah, it's like you could probably say the same with like Fallout, couldn't you? Really, like when they brought out like, Fallout 76, diehard Fallout fans
hated it.
Didn't like it.
I mean, you can speak to Bendy forever about Fallout 76.
But like, if they wanted to make that style of game, just do it. Kind of set it in an apocalypse of some kind, but create something new for it. Don't give it the Fallout name, because you're literally doing it to get the people that like Fallout to then go and play this game. You're hoping that the fans are going to like it enough that it will sell well enough. But obviously it got released and was janky as shit. But
I think this is the crux of actually the question that Tom has asked, because where a game takes something out, changes something in the sequel, it is deliberately because they want to use the title and the money and the amazement that came with this game, but they want to make something different. They don't want to do that game again. They want to make something different, but they want all the fans to come with them. It just hurts them every time, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, they play it and people expect it to be like the first game, and then everyone's like, well, this isn't this game, and now I hate it because of it. If they hadn't done that, if they just put a completely different title on it, I guarantee you 90% of the fans that said they hated it would have said they loved it.
You could certainly say that for any sort of medium, couldn't you? Because that's definitely true of movies. Possibly it's worse in movie land, where like people love to pump out sequels. But in movie land, maybe they are more like stuck in a rut. The sequels don't depart from the original enough, and they're not different enough.
I think two games that come to mind particularly where people are like, this is a fucking great game, but it isn't this kind of game, is Assassin's Creed Origin and, well, the Assassin's Creed since Origins, basically. Everybody loves those games. Odyssey in particular. Everybody loved Odyssey, but everyone was like, this isn't an Assassin's Creed game. You're not assassinating anybody per se. Like, this isn't an Assassin's Creed. It's a great game. It runs beautifully. It's fantastic. The story's great. It's just not an Assassin's Creed game, which is fine. Ubisoft, stop making Assassin's Creed games. You can make other things, just saying. And then the other one is Dead Space. I think it's Dead Space. Dead Space 1, everybody loved. And then Dead Space 2 and 3 were very different from Dead Space 1. And I remember watching people playing this on stream and thinking the same thing, and I don't like that kind of thing, so...
Isn't Dead Space 3 a co-op game now?
Yeah. Dead Space 3?
It was brought out as a co-op game, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a complete change. It's
just
like,
a complete change.
I've gone from being the only person alive in this creepy-ass spaceship to, I've got a friend now.
Because I remember...
just also you as well. It's very confusing. Like you're both... What is his name? Isaac something or other.
Yeah.
Cutscenes play as if there's just one of you, but there are two of you.
See, I remember watching our friend Wildlink play Dead Space 1 and being very creeped out and not really being able to watch. And then I remember him playing with Reese Dead Space 3, I think it was, and just being like, this is completely different. It was very much like Bioshock. The first one was fucking creepy, and then the third one was like this light and airy thing, and I wasn't freaked out at all. And it was a bit like, there were some gross bits, but I wasn't freaked out.
I think the main thing from it is, like, obviously we're grabbing onto is that they're scared that they're not going to get the sales and the plays for the games. But I'm not being funny. If you are a studio that has made a great game that everybody loves, you can make another game that people follow for you, like the studio. As much as people love the game series, right? Don't get me wrong, people, they latch on to game series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there are certain game studios that when they advertise something, I'm like, oh, I want to play this now. Like, again, Insomniac. they've gone from doing Ratchet and Clank, like in my gaming lifetime. Ratchet and Clank, they did Sunset Overdrive. They did the new Spider-Man games. They've got the new Wolverine game coming out. So they don't. Apart, I mean, I know they've literally dragged Ratchet and Clank for ages, but they've stuck with it. You know, they've not. That's not been sold off to anyone else. Like whereas Jack and Daxter got sold off by Naughty Dog, and it's been through like 4 different other studios at this point. Probably why we've not seen like any kind of remake or anything like that. But like every time Insomniac come out and say this is a new game we've got coming out, I'm excited for that because I love Insomniac games. I think they make almost perfect games. You know, I'm so excited for Wolverine. Like, can't wait to see what they do with it. And I think that's the problem. I think they're scared that they're not going to, just because they're not making the game that everyone might be clamoring for. Because, you know, you do get them people. Where's Bioshock 4, for instance? You know, everyone asking for it. It's like, well, maybe they don't want to make Bioshock 4, but they're probably going to end up making it because you're not going to shut up about it.
Well, I've got 2 good examples. Well, I've got one good example of each of those. So one good example of a studio who is going back to make another game because the fans wanted it and they bowed to peer pressure, CD Projekt Red. They said they weren't going to make any more Witcher games. They were done. Geralt was done. The Witcher was done. And lo and behold, The Witcher 4 is coming out because guess what? Cyberpunk did shit.
Yeah.
And a studio that makes different games every time, but everybody loves them no matter what because they do it well, Supergiant Games. Every single game is different, but it's well made, and every single game that comes out, everybody's excited for it, even if it is different. Hades was so different from Pyre. Pyre was different from Transistor. Transistor and what's it called? The first one were pretty kind of similar, but
Bastion,
got a very
specific gimmick to it that,
yeah.
that isn't in any of their other games. I think that's probably the key thing is that they certainly have a gimmick that's like Pyre was mad. Like that
it was
I don't know how
totally different.
That was
I mean, it didn't do as well as Transistor or Bastion, but it still did fucking well. You know, don't forget, this is an indie studio. There's only 25 people in it, ish. And their games are consistently good. Visually, they're always stunning. But their gameplay is consistently good. But they're always different. Like, they are not afraid to do something different. Because they know the fans will go, great, another Supergiant Games game. Gonna get it. Because they know that they make good games. They have the reputation for good games because they care about the games that they make. Every inch of the developer goes into that game and it's really good because of it. Whereas I think you get some studios that are like, let's write off this title and we're only going to give you a year to develop the game, guys. So make it okay. Make it playable.
Hit the nail on the head that it's to do with like financing and where like publishing and stuff, and people like naturally, and I think this is also true in film, but I don't have any evidence for it necessarily, but I think it's probably to do with how like people with all the money don't want to take risks, and what's less risky, making a sequel. Like even if it doesn't do as well, like it's still a known quantity, whereas if it's like a completely unknown game, unless you've got like a very like with Supergiant, the studio is very like market, like people know it's a Supergiant game, it's going to be like this, like or kind of or it's going to have these elements to it, and it's going to be of a certain quality, and so they kind of like, regardless of what it is, they know going into it that it's going to be good. Whereas with with other games, maybe they don't necessarily know that. Whereas if it's a sequel to something, it's recognizable. You don't really know that it's made by Insomniac or don't know
anyone,
Bungie or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just a case of like at some point you risk losing your fan base from carrying on too far with things. Like you just like for example, again, like Bethesda with their Fallout, it's like, I mean, as much as people were excited for a new Fallout game, it's like you've seen like kind of they never come out perfect.
No.
So that there's always something wrong.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, but like, and it's like, and I think that takes that itself takes away from your experience of the game as well. Because if you're set there, you're excited for a game, and all you're getting is glitchy faces, and you just can't walk somewhere. Or I've had it in games before where a quest won't ping. You know, it's like it really takes away from the game experience you've got going on, and I think that can hurt a game series as it moves forward. Because like obviously Assassin's Creed, for example, like Syndicate was rife with bugs when it come out, and like I think everyone was kind of like, oh, maybe that's it for like, I've had enough of this. It's every game now, blah blah blah. Thankfully, obviously, Origins has come out and kind of reverted things. It's not been so bad, but like at a certain point, you have to think to yourself, when do we stop making these titles and move on to something else? Like we are like the Assassin's Creed games, for instance, like the first few games often lauded as some of like the best games out there because it was almost industry defining with their like parkour,
for sure,
assassination things. But Ubisoft they're literally milking a dead cow with the Assassin's Creed.
That cow is rotted away, or it's like there is not much left of that cow.
Jerking a like dismembered teat at this point.
But
That's a horrible thought.
It gets to a point when I think a game series needs to finish as much as either fans want it, or you're worried that making something new won't get you as much hype. But like I said, if you're a game studio that people absolutely love and adore the games you've made in the past, they're gonna play and go, like they're gonna buy and play the game, whatever game you make, if they're a fan of your studio.
Yeah.
You know, at the
you
end
actually
of the day,
got to make it though. You can't like sit in development hell for 7 years looking at you, Insomniac Games. Not Insomniac, Improbable.
What game is this?
Yeah,
the people who made BioShock and BioShock Infinite.
Oh right, I see.
Not released a game in a long time, and it's been very much stuck in development hell for whatever they're working on.
I just see your face now. That camera moved.
It's horrible. I don't know how your colleagues put up with it at work.
It's very weird.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, good question, Mr. Dwar.
That was a very good question. So good that we've gone to 1 hour and 40 already.
We are getting longer.
Are getting longer every episode, I swear.
I'm the person who can talk for England, so I'm sorry.
About games, though, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody's ever accused you of being able to talk for England, Andy.
I don't know.
Okay,
you might
well,
have done, but other people have.
Andy never talks to me for England, but that's probably because I'm married to him.
Well, we've got an emergency host now, at least.
We do! And he's like, I'm never coming on ever again. Did you enjoy yourself, though, Andy?
I did enjoy myself.
Yeah, see, I told you it wasn't that bad.
More than an hour's notice next time, please, but I did.
Oh, blame Bendy. All I have to say is, you've been bendied. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it. Some great insights there from somebody who actually has some technical knowledge behind some games. I don't. I just tell people what to do. I have no technical knowledge.
I play games.
Yeah. I'm basically on the same level as Tempus. I just managed to bullshit my way into a studio. Yes, thank you for coming along. I mean, you have social media. Do you want to tell people about your social media?
I'm sure you'll find me in Nettle's tweets occasionally and also on her streams. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have anything else. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine, fair enough. I'm Nettlecreates, and you can find me everywhere, reputable and not reputable, on the internet as Nettlecreates. There's a lot of reaction videos, just saying. Tempus, where can we find you?
You can find me watching said reaction videos on Nettle's YouTube channel. But, other social media sites, you can find me at Tempusbe. All one word.
Lovely. And we have been the Unnamed Gaming Podcast. You can find us on your favourite podcasting site, whatever that may be, and YouTube. And we are on Instagram as the Unnamed Gaming Podcast, and TikTok as the Unnamed Gaming Podcast, and Twitter. And Tempus is about to tell you the Twitter tag for Unnamed Gaming Podcast, because Annette can't.
At T_U_G_P.
There you go. That's where you can find us. We also have a Discord, and it will be, all of the links for that will be under the show in various places. So watch out. Come and talk to us, because we like talking to people, and we're a bit mad.
Definitely.
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
If you've got a question or a topic, we read these things and we
because we can't think of our own questions.
we've been doing this for too long.
It's not even been a year yet.
Almost though.
Nearly 3 months. 3 months?
2 months.
2 months.
Wasn't it?
Shit. Gonna have to think of something good for that one. Yes. So come and join Discord. Come watch everything. Go listen to us. Also, there is some some tabletop RPG stuff in our Discord, which apparently got added last week, and I have no idea what it is.
Look, this is what happens when me and Bendy get left alone to pod. Okay, we end up talking about D&D, and D&D things happen.
Whatever. Thank you for joining us today, this evening, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to us. We no preference. On the toilet, whatever. And we'll be back next week, probably. All of us, maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows? Thank you all, and we'll see you. Bye.
Bye.